Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite to my right is Bash_Bo3 Sam. To our farthest right per usual is none other than Rex, ShadyNero, and guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, talking about week 2 of stage 4, which of course is leading into our first LAN of the year. Going through all the predictions of this weekend, talking about the spicy news of the week, and we're creating the God Squad of benched players in CDL. There's that many of them, folks. There's that many of them. And before we get to any of that, guys, I've got to ask, boys, what's going on?
Well, Josh, I'm feeling like a rat who's just released out of this mouse trap. And that mouse trap was obviously way too small to contain this beast that is within inside me. So I got that cheese and I'm running home with it.
Oh, baby. No rat or no mouse trap is stopping this rat. Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. That's a great analogy because that's like the ultimate goal of a mouse, right? Get the cheese and get out.
Yeah. But we way better than that, baby.
Yeah.
We are a day late. This is being posted on a Wednesday because we had some Memorial Day shenanigans.
Whoops,
Samuel. And couldn't make it happen. So here we are. Although, and of course, the 1 week we don't record on a Tuesday. No news drops on a Tuesday. So here we are on a Wednesday with nothing to talk about. The news is a little bit slow this week, but again, a spicy week nonetheless. But first of all, you can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can drop a review on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on YouTube, on Spotify, drop a comment on YouTube. And we read these reviews that you drop on Apple Podcasts. So today we got a review from DMF Jones 98 who says best podcast but worst fantasy players. It's your boy Snuffleupagus coming in with that hot banter for the boys. Gotta tip my cap to Bash. But Rex and Josh are both one-shot hot dog water. Just playing, truly my absolute favorite for COD news and the true OGs of COD podcasts. Perfect blend of in-depth analysis with lighthearted back and forth throughout. A podcast where you won't see any holding back or such when discussing any underperforming teams or players. Can't suggest this enough. Great guys, great content, and best part of the week. Snuffleupagus, you're some trash fantasy players. Bodying y'all in the fantasy. The context for there is he's in the listener league, of course. We've been going through this whole year playing some fantasy COD together, and we're bodying him. Don't worry.
Oh, for sure.
That's as real as it gets. But a question of the week. We got a lot to get into today.
Oh yeah.
Get into the news of the week right off the rip. Let's get it.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
A little bit shorter news week this week, but there are some really interesting conversations to be had. Obviously, challengers-wise, the Cups were canceled for this weekend, but there was a Kraken Invitational hosted by the Florida Mutineers, which is being played currently during this week. I think as you guys are listening to this tomorrow, I think the top 8 are playing. Basically, first off, we want to talk about JCap because he gave a little bit more explanation for the benching of Huke, basically on the LAT pre-show. Definitely not copying OpTic there.
No.
Side note, it's just so weird that they do it like that.
I know.
It's still weird that they're doing the exact same thing.
It's weird.
Like, no, really?
It has some originality there.
I'm not hating.
Okay.
At the end of the day, this is just a podcast. There's been plenty of other podcasts.
That's
not as good. But hey.
No.
Anyway, what do you guys thoughts on JCap and the whole Huke situation and the context there?
I think it's they basically said what I think a lot of us were thinking already about really the only reason to be benching Huke. Like I know everyone was up in arms about it, but I think, at least for me, when I thought about it, like this had to be their reason was that like he just plays too individualistic. Like maybe like they said, going for a long route to try and get a kill when really he should be holding back and playing with the rest of the team. He's playing hero ball is what Enable, I think, said. He's just trying to make some hero plays that sometimes the hero play, if it works, great. But most of the time they don't. And it can actually start costing your team.
Yeah.
Man,
it's just weird.
I get it, but why the investment then? If you
what makes no sense.
If you saw the way he played on Empire, which according to Crim, that's why he was benched,
which is really
the
interesting.
minimap. Why make that a large investment? Unless, obviously LA Thieves have cash to throw around, but man, that just is, it makes no sense to me that you would drop that and not work with him and work with
just
the
make
team.
It work.
Well, it's also an org who prizes winning.
Yeah, and they have a lot of cash to work with, so it's not the biggest deal to them. I agree, it is weird though. Like when you put it in perspective of the whole acquisition, like you know the individual talent of the player. It's like they are still going to make champs, and so it's like it's just a weird situation. They're not going to be willing to work it out with them.
No, yeah.
I mean, obviously they came out and they didn't look by any means inspiring this week with Tej in the lineup.
No.
But I guess the question, what gets interesting for me is talking about what's in store for Huke going into next year, especially if there aren't expansion teams. If there aren't expansion teams, it's going to be, I mean, he'll find a spot for sure because he's nasty. Sure. I mean, like, what roster will he find? That's what'll be interesting.
I'm concerned what the contract, I guess, looks like for him because honestly, like, if he for sure would get on a team, like he could get on Paris, he could like a team, Seattle, like these teams will eat him up. Like, sure, he's making those hero plays and maybe they weren't like the best plays in those top teams, but like there's teams that it's not like he's stupid. It's not like he's dumb. It's not like he's bad. Like he was good and he's been good for a long time. Going back to, as far as I know, I think World War II.
What's when he made his comeback, yeah.
Yeah, so like he's always been around and he's a good player. I think he just has a certain knack, and maybe in the next game, that sort of way he plays isn't going to be as like troublesome, or maybe it'll be the right play.
Yeah, that's what's tough.
That's the beauty of having all these CODs, honestly, is that each game is new, which sucks, but it's fresh every year. And that's something you can't complain about with COD.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Huke be nasty in 2 5v5 CODs in BO4. I mean, he was disgusting in BO4, really? And he was very, very good, especially in the second half of the year last year in Modern Warfare. You know, in World War II, it was a little inconsistent, I think, at times on Envy with that squad, because they just didn't have that much success that year. They were always like consistently like in that top 8 or so. But it's like, I don't think he was some stud during World War II, though. And so it'll be interesting to see like what that looks like heading into a next year game. You know, a potential World War II 2 with Vanguard. So I don't know. I mean, I think he'll be just fine. And I still have a lot of confidence in Huke as a player. And I still think that LAT probably in the long term would have been better off just trying to, you know, make it work and mold Huke with the play style. I'm just surprised that they didn't think that Huke could like change his change his play style a little bit.
Right. I mean, they said that was like, sometimes that's just a player's natural instinct. And so it's hard to kind of like, you know, beat that out of a player. If that's just what their instinct is to do, you know? But I mean, I think Huke, to go back to the original question, I think Huke could end up back on a team as long as his buyout's not too crazy. He could get on a lot of teams.
Yeah, for sure.
I would love
anything
to see
that's
that video.
not top 4, basically. It feels.
He said he wanted to drop a video about it, but
I know, and then the video never came out.
No,
I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what it was.
It was strange that he didn't seem to take it as hard as everyone was taking it for him. Like, like he said, I'm gonna make a video about this because this is just getting ridiculous about the things that are being said.
He did throw some tweets out.
Yeah, so I would love to pick his brain, just what is going on, because again, it's crazy that the name that Huke has been benched twice now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is.
I don't know.
Man, he must be doing something wrong. Like,
no, I mean, for sure. I mean, I agree with the whole idea that he does like playing the solo plays, but I'm just surprised that you can't figure out a way to make it more consistent for your team and still make it work. And because it's like his ability to pop a 3-piece and make the game winning play is something that's valuable to the championship teams. Yeah. So it's just like, I'm just surprised that you can't, you know, figure out a way to make it work.
Even if that 5v5, but in 4v4, if the hero play doesn't work,
it's more punishing.
It's just more punishing.
For sure,
like,
I agree.
Now the time, you almost have to wait for him to spawn up, get back in line so that you can actually make a good team push. But if he fails the hero play, it's like, we just wasted, you know, forever setting this up, and now we got to wait again for you to come back.
Which would be frustrating. It would be.
Yeah, hopefully none of us dies during this time, you know?
For sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with Huke for sure. So other news, Slasher tweeted that he is going to be free soon, which is interesting. So supposedly he will be off of that LAT roster at some point. So what does that mean for Slasher? Will it be before the roster lock, supposedly heading in like stage 5 or whatever? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So I mean, do you think if Slasher's released and can sign for a minimum contract, does he get signed by someone?
I don't know who. He's an AR.
Yeah, that's what gets tough.
Who's the worst, I guess, AR in the league right now?
Yeah, with bad vibes that they'd be willing to replace Slasher with, who wants to kind of take control of teams.
Right.
That does get tough. That does
like
get
even
tough.
the worst team, like
guys like Paris, you know.
Rokkr, maybe?
good. Aqua's
Yeah,
great.
Aqua's not that bad. Yeah,
What about Rokkr? Do you think Major
That's
Maniac
the
would be?
only one I was sort of thinking was maybe
but that would just be
Rokkr,
surprising.
but they just
It
got
would
rid of
be.
accuracy.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
wouldn't fit the vibes of that team.
And then like they're gonna do Major and now, and it doesn't seem like. I mean, again, it felt more lateral than anything so far.
For
It
sure.
didn't feel like much change. So maybe they throw in Slasher, but if you throw in Slasher, you have the inclination to be like, well, now they're just throwing in another accuracy.
Mhm.
Maybe.
I am more inclined to believe he might wait until next year. Or,
Yeah.
or B, he might not even have a choice where teams just won't pick him up until, because they're.
I mean, yeah, the most important thing for him, though, heading into next year was to make sure that he wasn't on contract
Yes.
so that he can sign wherever he wants with whatever roster he wants and build the team that he wants to build.
Hopefully expansion teams.
Right. And
Be
like he
there.
didn't really have that option to do that last offseason either. So whether he wanted to play with Tej and Kenny or not, he didn't have the choice.
Yeah, he was screwed.
Yeah. So that is the debate, too. I think people still value Slasher enough to give him a chance, though.
100%. How do you not? I don't
Yeah,
know.
his experience as a
Exactly.
player, everything
Do you
about him.
think
Yeah.
Slasher and Octane could play on the same team again?
Oh,
4v4? I don't know.
bring it back.
I mean, it'd be cool.
It's possible.
It is.
It's possible.
I mean, because then Gunless can probably go to a sub. He's been playing really well with the AR, so it's like
I
why
know
would you
that.
make
Well,
But
until this
he
last
could-
weekend.
Yeah, but he could go to a sub, and then you have Pristini and Classic there, which make your decision what you want to do there.
Yeah.
and just throw Slasher in as your second AR.
That'd be pretty surprising, though, right?
It would be.
Oh, it just depends on the metas. That's why this year has been tough for Seattle too. Because I mean, Gunless as a true flex, you just don't. You force him to use an AR all the time. It sucks. But yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be interesting for sure. Keep your eye out on Slasher.
Yes.
Other news. I thought it was really interesting. Lion Man, of course, Lion Man, the guy who makes the awesome cards.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, they put out a dope video with LA Thieves.
Mhm.
They printed out all the cards and they let the players like open up literal packs with Lion Man's cards in them. I thought it was a really cool video. And basically, the video had to be taken down supposedly. And Lion Man basically tweeted like, takes my content and silences mine, bold. So this basically confirms that the CoD League cards are coming, which is really interesting. So the release date, you wonder when that's going to be, heading into champs maybe?
Maybe
But it's
so.
like at that point, like half the rosters are going to be different.
I know.
I could see champs. I mean, here's like that's the trouble. Between matches, they play like the little clip, and then you'll see like Methodz popping up, and you see Fire
Right.
popping up for these teams where it's like, well, they're not on the team anymore. I think the cards, my prediction, cards will come out during champs. They'll be selling them at the LAN event. After the LAN event is when they'll start selling
And
them,
promoting them all
online.
throughout the champs. Yeah. That would make the most
That's
sense.
how I imagine.
They've got to
it'll
do
go.
it. Do you think they do NFTs? Do you think-
Probably not just because we
No.
saw them signing the autographs.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
I
mean,
don't
and it's
think
Upper
this
Deck
year.
doesn't do that yet. So,
Because that would be interesting though, to do that.
I mean, that'd
but-
be dope. It'd
But
be
yeah,
on
no,
brand,
that,
but
that definitely would be like more of the Upper Deck. Not
well, I
the
want to see
actual-
NFT stuff. That'd
Yeah.
be sick. 'Cause it makes so much sense for esports, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be cool though too to like have those like rare cards where it's like a player not on a team anymore. That is a cool.
that's true.
So
Kind of fun.
yeah, but it would be kind of weird with like the amount of roster changes that do happen, and we've seen. It'd be interesting to see like cards come out, and random players on different
Like
teams.
you got a
and, like,
parasite card.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like what in the world?
Mhm.
you like have to do like 1 of 10 of parasite. Or something
Literally,
like that.
that'd
But
be comedy. Honestly,
it's cool though, but at the same time, twofold. I feel really bad for Lion Man. That does suck.
Yeah, because
With how many years has he done?
I'm
this?
sure he's reached out to him to try to do official ones
Exactly.
before.
Mhm. But at
And-
the same time, it's like it is a franchise league, and they do kind of own the rights.
Right. I'm just surprised they didn't hire him on to like at least like give some insight or something,
Exactly.
like do something like that.
Contract him out to like make the actual.
Yeah, just help
graphics and
a little
stuff.
bit or
Yeah.
something, I'm surprised they didn't do that, but
That
yeah, I
does
don't know. It's crazy. So be on the lookout for some Upper Deck cards. I think it's happening. It's pretty exciting. Other things, FaZe secured their champ spot.
It's crazy.
I mean, hey, makes sense. Nothing too surprising there. Crim turned 28. And then the only other thing this week was really basically like Aches kind of was giving some more takes on the potential of league matches this year and the difference in the formats. And I thought he had some interesting takes.
I want to talk about this.
Yeah, about
Go for it.
leagues and seeded matches. So basically, Aches was arguing that league play or basically how we do it right now, where we have 3 weekends straight of league play. I'd imagine this was a reaction to the kind of the low views this weekend.
Yes.
That was probably part in part because it was Memorial Day weekend, and there was a lot of other things going on this weekend with
Valorant
was huge.
and the Champions League finals were on Saturday. So like people, the soccer fans were watching that, and there was a lot going on. So the views were pretty low this week compared to most weeks. And then Aches was basically saying his argument was, hey, you know, league play matches are good for pros, bad for fans. They're not fun to watch. Thoughts on that?
You know, at the beginning of this, I was a proponent of the league matches. Yeah, but he has a point where, like, there's just, I guess, not enough on the line to like keep paying attention. Because I would honestly prefer if they just did, like, I think from the very beginning they were going to do like less matches, like not even all the teams would be there, and you only, you know, watch, I don't know, like you're watching NFL football or something.
Right. That's the thing. I mean, this is the debate. It's the NBA, MLB, NFL versus esports debate.
Yeah.
And I mean, right now, I mean, obviously what the NBA and NFL struggle with, or the NBA and MLB struggle with regular season viewership, but then their postseason viewership is great because they have so many matches during the regular season. So that's kind of like, I think, the debate here. The NFL has 16 matches or 16 games. Well, now 17. And they're all pretty freaking important for the success of your team to make the playoffs, get a big time seed, to only have to play 2 games to get to the Super Bowl. So there's a lot. Every match means a lot in the NFL. We're not the same necessarily for the MLB or for the NBA. So the debate is, you know, like, okay, for Call of Duty, do these matches mean enough to be worth something every match in and match out? And I don't know. I mean, on an individual team basis, I feel like they mostly do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like one of the things too is like what's also interesting is there is also a lot of factors of like what makes it interesting. Like I would love more storylines. I would love more rivalries, like actual like hardcore like you know, rivalries where
right.
And like I do think the going back to LAN will help with that because you know you don't see the players like live reactions.
I mean, that's also the debate though, is that if we keep doing these league play matches online, like what that one article from a while back was hinting at, then that might be a big time, a real issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not a fan of that. I would love like take us back to first weekend Modern Warfare, Dallas versus Huntsman. Like that was hype because there was backstory. There was an actual rivalry there, and like seeing Formal and Scump get that hype. Like that was awesome. But when we're doing these online league matches, it's just like, okay, there's just another, you know, match. And there's just not much stakes, you know, and
I definitely think people are getting worn out about it, which is definitely tough. I mean, like, think about it, like, you know, FaZe has played 28 matches so far this year. Surge has played 20. So there's kind of like a little bit difference there between the best teams, the worst teams, and the successes this year. So, you know, I mean, like when you're only playing 28 matches over the span of how it's been about 4.5 months now, I mean, that's not too many. I mean, and with every match meaning something for COD champs, I mean, like, I think if you told, you know, LAG, does every match matter? They'd be like, yes, because we're down by 50 points right now to Mutineers. So every match definitely matters. We're not going to make COD champs. I think the bigger issue is that for the teams that are in the top 6 right now, and let's be real, it's OpTic fans. For OpTic fans, does every match matter right now? Not really. So that's the debate, is that for the teams that are in the bottom 4, the matches do matter, and they're really, really important. I mean, every single match is crucial for LAG in Florida right now. Every single one. But for OpTic, Ultra, Dallas, I mean, you're going to have a top 4, top 5 seed, 6 seed somewhere in there for sure heading into champs at this point. So it's like, what do these next 2 stages really mean? Besides the money on the majors, but the league matches are really tough.
Absolutely.
Like there is a certain something we're missing that I think MLG had back then, where you had like the open pro bracket, and like there were tournaments, and like all the players really cared about these tournaments.
Right. And then you had a short spurt of league matches. That was like 2 months long, a short spurt of league matches that led into a big playoff, which is pretty
right
cool.
Right now, I would like going back to tournaments would be great. But I think there needs to be more time off between them, like we had before. Like we weren't getting them all the time.
I mean, if you had 1 match per month, if it was literally like it is right now, but LAN with all 12 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be enough?
Like one tournament per month?
One big tournament per month.
And then that's it?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm okay with that, but then you know, that's a risk because you know how many people are going to be able to stay in tune for a whole month.
Right. Do you play the pool play matches? You have, let's just say you have pool play, and the pool play just starts up 1 week. It's just like it is right now, except it's pool play, not league matches.
I know. See, and that's the thing too. It's like these really are pool play matches. You know, these are elongated pool play matches. So at the end of the day, well, does it really, when you rename it, does it really change that? And so I don't know. To me, it almost seems like give it more time to grow and get us back on LAN. It might change things.
Yeah,
I think LAN really could change the whole game about it.
Yeah,
LAN could literally happen, and we'll be like, you know what we have is fine.
Exactly.
Now that
I agree.
This feels way different and way more hype.
It's just rough right now because, again, there's how many technical difficulties have we seen? How long have we been on?
That was the
online?
stat. There was as much downtime on Sunday as there was matches played. It was literally 50-50.
And less commercials. And there was love of God.
It was 5.5 hours worth of stream, and 2 hours and 15 minutes of it was game time.
Just rough.
Like,
I'm
so sick
tough
of these commercials. I'm actually I'm losing my mind. Like it's crazy. Just like between every series, it's like I'm gonna have to wait like 30 plus minutes
if I hear
for something
that
to happen again.
You think they would have like updated it for a year? But
what was nice was that in MLG days, you had an Alpha stream and you had a Bravo stream, and then you sometimes had a Charlie and Delta. So like when one, the winner side was kind of done doing their thing, you could always tune into the Bravo and catch these kind of just like, less known teams doing their things. Like who's going to end up playing these guys,
Yeah.
So you had a way of almost tracking the team that you wanted to track.
And avoiding commercials.
Avoiding commercials. Now there's no avoiding commercials, and there's no that's just what you had constant in the moment of stuff to do when you were watching last year. Whereas now, once you hit a point where like there's commercials, it's like, and I guess I just sit here. I get like,
it's insane. Yeah, it's definitely terrible. Those are the issues that need to be fixed, and like especially when it's online, like there really should be no break between matches. It should be like one match ends, and within 7 minutes, the next match is started. But how is it still 15, 20 minutes between matches? It makes no sense. Like that's what's crazy to me. So
it is really
those
weird.
are the things that need to get fixed moving forward. And we could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about this probably in the off season as well. So without further ado, I think we can get right into our big old segment this week, which is drafting the benched players in the CDL. So without further ado, let's get right into this and make a God squad. Let's go.
Hello, you play to win the game.
Alrighty, so what we're doing today, we're playing a little game. We're drafting the best roster of benched players. It works out nearly perfectly because there are 13 benched players in the CDL. Of course, the list real quick is Slasher, Fire, Huke, Methodz, Parasite, Fellow, Zed, Looney, Accuracy, Dylan, Zero, Slacked, and Diamond Con.
Whoa.
Quite the list of bench players, and we are making the best rosters possible, drafting against each other. So it's not going to be easy to build the best squad of players out of all the bench players. So, Rex, you get the first pick.
Ooh, I get the first pick, huh?
And then Sam gets second. I get third. We'll do Snake, I guess. Snake draft here to kind of build our rosters real quick.
All right.
And we'll go from there. So the positioning is going to be a little bit weird here. So we're going to have to do our best to build whatever.
Yes.
You might have to force some guys.
Oh, gosh.
It's not going to be easy because there is a flurry of ARs.
Sure is.
But we'll see what happens. All right, Rex, you're on the board. Who you got?
Well, I'd be remiss if I did not pick up Huke
Yeah, I mean,
as
that's
my number
fair.
one pick. It's
I
a
could give him to
pretty,
Sam.
I think,
Yeah,
solid pick.
of course you can.
Granted, sure, he makes hero ball plays, but he's still a
he's
great
got them
player,
hero
and
balls.
a team could still use him and level up a lot.
Fair
Solid.
play. I mean, that's probably would have been the unanimous 101, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So Sam, now you're on the board.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned, there is an abundance of ARs.
There
so
are.
you kind of got to snag the subs. So my first pick is going to be Zed.
Okay. Yeah,
Good
that
pick.
makes sense.
I was
Good
very
pick.
impressed with him. I didn't think he deserved to be benched. So I'll pick him up on my team.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. There's three or four guys that really I'd get pretty excited about here. And it's not an easy decision to make. I want them all. I want it all.
Take them all.
And so with that said, I still think that the one guy that I think I need to take here, because I think the upside is just still there for him, and I really like him. The only reason he got benched is because Hydra came into the CDL, and that's because Diamond Con. I mean, Diamond Con's I think still a very, very good player.
Yes.
And so I'm going to start my roster with Diamond Con, and
Very solid.
he can be kind of the second AR, or he could be the main AR, and so I kind of like the idea of that little bit of the flexibility. Obviously, in this draft, it means that's kind of irrelevant. So I got one AR off the rip there. It's tough because I was thinking Slasher, but it's like, do I really want to build my team around Slasher? Not sure, not necessarily. And I'll leave Parasite for Rex. So there's two other guys that I'm really, really excited about here, and I want them both. I'm going to go with the youth squad and hope it works out here. I'm going to go Fire as well.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
And kind of start him off there. He'll be my SMG there to build off of. It's not easy knowing that I had to go at least one SMG here. I could have probably just left the AR and let it get back to me on the next round, but it's like, I wanted Diamond Con. So there you go. Diamond Con did Fire. I like that. I'll go with the Young Gun squad. All right, Sam, you're up.
So I'm kind of thinking here, I might force this player to play my sub.
Oh,
I'm trying to think if that's a good idea or not. Thinking Zero.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely on consideration there.
Yeah. So I think just with the way the bench players are, I'm going to take Zero, and I'm going to have him as my second sub.
Going to the next game, that could be a very, very solid pick.
Yeah.
For me, I'm surprised that this person even got around to me, and I think maybe you're underestimating him, is Fellow.
Oh, really?
Granted, Fellow, maybe we can say he did not
expecting.
have like a great showing with Empire, but like Empire was already like in this bad spot, and I don't think it was because of Fellow that they stayed there. I think Fellow actually looks really good in this game, and I think he plays really well.
Side note on Fellow, he is the twitchiest player.
Yeah, his movement's kind of crazy.
His Y-wine is absurd.
And like he just turns his camera just like
it's like, dude, are you on crack? Holy.
Exactly, man. He's cracked, and he still has like a little bit of that veteran leadership. I think he can mold into a lot of teams very easily.
He is a
I
solid
think
player.
adding Huke and Fellow together.
That's ironic. That's ironic.
It is
A potentially dangerous combination.
the two bench, the two Empire bench.
You got the Empire. What is that word?
They didn't work for Empire because they're bad players.
is
They didn't
that
work
word?
for Empire because they just weren't fitting
Cast-offs.
the mold that was there.
Yeah, I mean you're the Empire cast-offs right now, so that's tough. So that's an okay pick.
a great
I'm
pick.
joking.
We all know it's a great pick.
Well, you got
Forgottens.
another pick here, Rex.
That is yours, Sir X.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So who are you pairing with Huke and Fellow? And which player? I mean, again, there's only one of two players will get back to you. You know, you have the last pick, so
Yeah.
you'll have an option of two players to choose from at the end there. So who do you think is going to get there? Who do you want to risk falling? There's a lot of strategy here on this pick. So what's going through your little Rexy boy's head?
So I'm sitting, Huke, Fellow. I got
Rexy boys.
some good minds on the team here. But there could be something else.
This is an obvious pick for you.
Don't know why we think this is obvious. I'm gonna go with Slasher though.
Oh, surprising.
As in my AR again,
Interessante.
Slasher's not a bad
You
player.
would've taken
Slasher's
Slasher,
a good
right?
head about him. I think players
It was
like
him or
Huke,
someone
players like
else.
Fellow can work well with Slasher. And
Agreed.
And I think we have a good bridge happening
That is
between
true.
Slasher and Fellow and Huke. They played before, like maybe not in the same teams, but they've just been in the same universe for a while. But Slasher still has that veteran edge. So I think I'm considering that heavily with this. I'm going with Slasher.
Wow. Dang. Sam, you have the opportunity here to go full London. I mean, you
I
can just
do.
make the full-on
I
London
could.
squad here.
I sure could.
You got Zed and Zero, and there's still
I
a few
know.
London guys on the board here.
There is.
I think there's one player on the board that the public will be pissed if it's not picked.
Yes. So I've had my gripes with this person before.
Oh, he's going with them. Yes, sir.
But I do respect what he's done and the talent he has. So Methodz, come on down.
Yeah, I mean, that's
See,
fair.
Methodz was up there for me too. It was a debate between Slasher and Methodz, but I went with Slasher.
Yeah. Wow, I'm surprised that 2 solid SMGs got back to me still here.
Yeah.
Dylan
hard.
and Slacked are still on the board. Looney's still on the board. I mean, there's some pretty freaking great players on the board, so it's actually crazy.
Dylan was a hard, one of those things where it's just hard to like
Gauge where he's
Gauge
at
where he's
as a
at,
player. I
yeah.
agree. I'm going with the safe pick. You know, I've ragtagged on him for a while, but with my young, fiery squad, Slacked is on the squad.
do it.
And so we got DiamondCon, Fire, and Slacked.
Dude,
I think it's a pretty solid team.
I'm
right
not
there.
going to lie. For your team, I was thinking Parasite. Like, I felt like with Fire and Diamond, and then add Parasite with his just massive brain about the
Yeah.
game. His
Well, he still has a
bromance
fourth
with
pick.
Fire.
I mean, I do have a 4th pick.
Right. But I mean, I guess, okay, maybe that's what you're going with. All right.
You know?
Probably not though.
It depends if I want to have DiamondCon be my main AR.
Yeah.
And then who else is on the board here? I mean, I have Fire could flex. So
Yes.
I have the option to go like a Looney here. I have the option to go with Dylan here. Or Parasite is the only AR still left on the board. We got Parasite and Accuracy on the board. So it's Parasite. Let me show what we got right now. We got Parasite, Looney, Accuracy, Dylan, and Slacked left on the board.
Well, you just took Slacked, but yes.
Or I'm sorry, yeah. Well, yeah, at the beginning of my pick here. So we have 4 guys left. And this is not an easy pick. Parasite would be really interesting and could make for a pretty fun team. His chemistry with Slacked would be good times. Looney is also fun because then you get the Slacked Looney pairing, and then you can kind of go off that. Man, I'm just going to go for the full-on upside squad. I'm going to go Dylan. I'm going to go Dylan and just see what happens.
Interesting.
You know? Play Flyer as a flex, DiamondCon as a main AR, Slacked and Dylan on the sticks, and then just say YOLO, let's go, boys. And then just see what happens. All right?
It would be interesting to see DiamondCon main AR.
Yeah, DiamondCon as the main
Absolutely.
AR and see what happens with that team. Parasite would be really fun, and I could have definitely seen that working. But I wanted to go with a little bit faster paced team, run the SMG, see what happens, kind of go from that
If
regard.
it were me who had your team, I mean, I would have taken Diamond, Fire, Dylan, and then Parasite. That's what I would have done.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I could see that. Fire and Dylan on the sticks and then go that way. I could see that working.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, you're on the board
Man.
for your last pick here.
Yeah.
Right now you're rocking Zed, Zero, and Methodz. And we got 3 guys left on the board. Looney, Accuracy, and Parasite.
Yeah. So my internal debate here is, do I go for Accuracy and I have him as my main AR
Methodz
and then
and
Methodz
Accuracy on the same team.
I know. So
That would be something.
That would be weird. Or do I move Zero to the second AR?
very veteran squad if you took
Yeah.
Parasite.
It would be. Man.
Well, very veteran squad either way here.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
I do not think Accuracy and Methodz should be on the same team.
No, definitely not.
So I am going to actually take Looney.
Yeah, I think you kind of had to take Looney.
And then I'm going to move Zero to that second AR spot.
Yeah. Oh, man. Rex was really hoping Looney would get to him.
I mean, first I wanted Slacked as my last person.
Yeah.
But then after that I wanted Looney. Now I'm kind of stuck in a weird position. I can take
Love it when you're in those weird
Accuracy or
positions.
Parasite. And I have Huke, Fellow, and Slasher.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Here you go. YouTube. There you go. Our names are out of order on the little sheet there, but hey,
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
So Accuracy or Parasite. And I'm pairing
With
them
Huke and Fellow. Can Parasite and Slash your team? That's the question here. And I don't know if that's possible,
Who
bro.
knows?
I think you might have to go with Accuracy.
Part of me really wants to take Parasite.
Well, I mean, obviously. You're ShadyNero.
I mean, I think Parasite can bring so much to a team that really needs it. but this team seems like there's people that know too much for his wealth of knowledge. Like, I guess I'm looking more for vibes. Yeah, I guess I'm going accuracy with this one. We got the slasher accuracy bromance. They're probably not going to beef too much. Fellow doesn't beef with anything. Who,
that would be interesting.
Again, doesn't seem like a guy who beefs. And like, they all have really, I think Huke, obviously high potential, Fellow high potential, slasher, crazy good leadership. Actually, is like that second in command leadership style going on. So I'm happy with my team. Accuracy.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I think we all have some pretty interesting rosters, though.
Yeah.
Maybe we can throw up a little poll or something and see which team people like the most, because that'll be a fun one. So we'll throw that poll up on the podcast Twitter, Best of 3 Pod on Twitter. Give it a follow, check it out. And with that said, I think we can finally get into our predictions for the week. So without further ado, let's rock and roll. Let's get it. Best in the game. Oh, baby. Okay, so there was a lot that happened this past week heading into this week, obviously. We had 6 new rosters debut over the weekend, over last week in the week 1. And so we're going to have a lot to kind of discuss and toss around here heading into week 2 with some pretty fun matchups again this week. And overall, going to be some really tough ones once again. Last week, there was only one real upset. I think all our predictions were pretty dang close last week.
They were almost right on. Yeah.
Just because there was, basically the only one that was really wrong would have been like the Florida-Toronto series, which basically everyone got wrong. So, like I said, it was a fairly straightforward week last week, which will be interesting to see how this week ends up going with the matches we got off the rip here. So, Seattle versus Atlanta is our first match that we're talking about this weekend. And again, Seattle was, of course, the roster that debuted with Classic last week. So first of all, let's have a few thoughts on the Seattle team and whether they stand any chance against FaZe at all. Rex, what were your thoughts on Classic?
I think Seattle was like, if they would have won the control, they would have won the series.
Right. It went game 5.
And that control was a nail bite. Like, Surge choked it, really.
Is Seattle better or is LA Thieves bad? They only played one match.
I feel like Surge is better. I don't know if LA Thieves played they just threw in TJ again.
Right.
So again, it feels like the Huke TJ thing just seems very lateral. I don't know. I think Seattle did look better with Classic. I don't think Classic really, you can correct me, but he didn't really play bad in any of the maps as far as
no, definitely not.
No, he got in raid control.
Yeah, the control was really bad.
He got beat up in control, which is exactly what Seattle doesn't need.
I think he didn't have a good S&D in game 5 as well, if I remember right, but he was really solid in the hard points. They won both hard points against LA Thieves. That's a good sign.
I was going to say, I am of the opinion that they look slightly better.
I think so too.
I think Classic, what you're going to get with Classic. I think everyone says that about Classic. You know what you're getting with Classic. He's
reliable.
He's a solid, reliable player. So really, you're looking at Pristini and you're looking at Gunless, to do well.
But if they ain't winning S&Ds and controls,
it's like, what are you going to do? And there probably is a stat out there, but does Surge have lost the most game 5s?
It's got to be close. They've lost quite a few. Yeah.
Wow. It's a heartbreak for them, but I don't know, because Thieves for sure seemed like a lateral, like you said, Rex. It was kind of like a lateral move. Surge just has that potential to pop off, and they just don't. And that's the frustrating part. And
they won the hard point, both of them, by 100 points.
Yeah, they were really, really nice wins. I thought they looked really balanced. All 4 players looked good. And they the Apocalypse, they've been pretty good on Apocalypse all season though.
Yeah, they had 100 and whatever.
Yeah, the Moscow was a really impressive win, I thought, where they just out-rotated LA Thieves. They played great together. That was a really, really impressive map win. So going into a raid S&D though, game 5, you're like, not a good sign playing against LA Thieves on raid S&D, where Thieves has been pretty good, at least with their roster with Tijin there. So that was a question mark. Again, though, raid control, they're now 0-8 on it. I don't know. Against FaZe, you don't like their chances, No. Obviously, FaZe looked incredible. They 3-0'd OpTic. in a very, very impressive series. I mean, my word, man. When FaZe wants to play their best CoD,
It's
and when they
ridiculous.
need to play their best CoD, when don't they play their best CoD? It's insane.
It's a glitch in the matrix, man. They're just they're too good. It's unfair. they have four
Elite players.
All 4 players are in the top 7 overall KDs since the XM4 GA.
Yeah, so that
Like-
post on Reddit.
Like, what in the world? At that point, like,
And
you
they
don't
won
even-
stage 1 with the XM4.
with the XM4. So, I mean, going in predictions, how do you not say 3-0?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much
unless
Atlanta
you-
3-0.
Unless you play a standoff, S&D, and they're both 0-1 on.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends what map. Again, this is another series.
But here's
like
the thing,
I said against
Seattle
Paris.
lost it to LA Thieves. Atlanta lost it to, I forget who they, Ravens or who'd they play?
No, Paris. That's what I was saying.
Paris.
Oh yeah, they lost it to Paris.
Last week, that's what I was saying was Paris is like, ATL is going to keep trying to build their map pool
Yes.
and work on new things. And they use these matches to just kind of play around a little bit and try some new things.
Mhm.
And so I would imagine we'll see another standoff here. I bet
No,
we
for-
do.
I
Yeah.
think
Because
so.
why wouldn't you if you're Atlanta
Yeah.
to keep trying to fine tune it in match
Yeah.
settings? And so I could see Seattle taking a map. I mean, the hard, who's to say they don't take a hard point?
Exactly. I kind of think Seattle could take a map, but I'm not
Yeah.
that confident about it.
Yeah, I'll give Seattle a map just like I gave Paris a map. Well, actually, I think I said Paris 3-2
You said
last time.
3-2, and to be
I
fair,
mean, hey, I'll take the small half victories.
Absolutely.
I'll go ATL 3-1 though. I don't know how you go worse than 3-1. This would be quite the upset, you know.
Going to a game 5 would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. So
Imagine
we'll
if
see.
Seattle won a control versus Atlanta.
Now,
That would be
that'd be
shocking.
something.
That would be a miracle upon a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, literally,
hey.
it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're not. It depends what ATL wants to do. The weird things can happen in these types of series just because they're going to play different maps.
Well,
And-
yeah, and like you think of the different viewpoints. Seattle, this is do or die time. FaZe, this is I'll
Literally-
expand our map pool. If you
Yeah.
lose, who cares?
Who cares?
So
Because you already
maybe-
beat OpTic.
Yeah, so maybe Seattle comes out with fire here, and it's like, hey, FaZe just wanted to expand the map pool, and they didn't play as hard as they would have versus OpTic. Who knows what could happen? Maybe a
Right.
3-2. But
Yeah, because I mean, like, no one else in this group is looking impressive. You got LA Thieves, Rokkr, Surge, and Paris. Like, FaZe is going to 5-0 this group. Worst case scenario, they drop some crazy upset just because they're trying new things. That's the thing. FaZe is on cruise control right now.
Yep.
3-1. All right. LAGV Dallas. Another roster that debuted this week. Dallas. Well, I mean, again, half these matchups are going to be rosters
I
that
know.
debuted. Dallas with Vivid. Thoughts on Vivid off the rip here? And a match against Dallas against LAG. This is no gimme.
no.
I
honestly
mean,
think
I'm not gonna lie. Vivid had a bad week.
Yeah.
A really
Yeah.
bad
It was
week.
disappointing, man.
they did not look great.
I mean, the first when they played the Ravens, the first Hardpoint 1 Apocalypse, he was 15-26 with the least amount of hill time, and Crim was 21-24 with the second least amount of kill time.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just the amount, like, he's just dying. S&D Vivid 5-11, and then in Control Vivid 8-19. Illy was 9-16.
I mean, those were ugly maps. They
The
were really
Garrison-
ugly maps.
The Garrison, the Hardpoint Garrison, Empire 1, Vivid played well in that map. I don't remember the exact stats, but I remember thinking Garrison, like, he was
Yeah. And that
did
was
all
really,
right.
That was the map where London made a nearly insane comeback.
Yeah, it was 250-244.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And Illy was not good that game.
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
Empire right now,
Man.
their Horcrux is Illy and their fourth guy they're picking up. Like, they just, like,
No,
they
yeah.
cannot figure something out there.
There's just no consistency from Illy. Vivid.
Vivid didn't look the same that he did on
That's
on
what's
LAG.
weird.
Terrible.
He didn't
Vivid looked
look the
bad.
same.
That just
he
out of
looked
place.
better
And
on
again,
LAG.
That could continue to improve. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure there's a lot going through his head about trying to fit into this new style of play, a more
He's-
organized style
He's
of
probably
play.
trying to let Shotzi do.
Let Shotzi be
Shotzi.
Shotzi, but also, listening to Crim and making plays.
Exactly.
There's a lot on his plate
There
there
is.
on a new team. So I'll cut
Mhm.
him a little bit of slack week 1. I mean, obviously they got pretty badly beat again and then by Toronto. Oh man. It's hard to say with LAG, they continue to be decent.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
They're to me, they're the team that can beat you.
For sure. I mean,
but
definitely.
most often won't.
Yeah. You know, they played Subliners. They looked competitive. You know, it's like they always look competitive, except for the Garrison control, which was Subliners looked incredible there. But yeah, they won on Miami S&D. LAG played great in that S&D out. You got to be really impressed with that one. But that's just classic LAG. You know, this is going game 5.
I think so too.
But if it goes game 5,
if it goes game 5,
here.
I'm betting LAG. I'm betting LAG if it goes game 5.
Man, all right. Who's got a pick here? Who's feeling good about their pick?
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I think game 5, Empire do take it.
Really?
Yeah.
Empire clutches up in a game. They are good in game 5s on the season.
See,
I mean, yeah, but it's LAG. Like, LAG, if they don't win anything, they win their S&Ds. Like,
yeah. That's the one thing is Dallas struggled with their S&D. Was it stage 3 really? Pretty bad at stage 2.
This is just an important match for Dallas. It's like, all right, do we have a chance to compete right now?
And then if you also want to say too, Vivid.
But this is, I'm sorry, this is a ginormous match for LAG.
No,
it's a must-win match for LAG.
And it's against Vivid, yeah.
Yeah.
And
how many
it's
times
against
did
Vivid.
LAG play this last week? Did they only play
just
New
one.
York and that's it? Yeah.
Yeah, they only played New York in a 3-1.
Yeah. My reasoning goes, I think Dallas has the clutch factor that a step above LAG. I think Vivid looked not like himself this past week. I'm gonna give Vivid the benefit of the doubt. If it looks the same as this week, it's not good news.
Yeah, I mean, good news for Dallas was that they beat London in both S&Ds, which is what Vivid was there to do, was to, you know, solidify an S&D game for them. And they have so many good S&D. I mean, like, they better be good at S&D with this roster right now at this point. But yeah, like when you're getting 3-0'd on Garrison by London, to be fair, London has been a pretty solid control team on the year. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it comes down to the maps here. I'll be really interested to see what maps they end up playing. My gut prediction is that
they kind of like the same maps.
Sam, what's your gut prediction?
Me?
Oh, I mean, sorry, Rex. What's your gut prediction?
3-2.
I mean, I'm gonna go LAG 3-2.
Last time they played this, Empire won 3-2. That was at the beginning of stage 3.
And then even too,
LAG 3-2.
When you look at the stage 3 S&D stats, Dallas was 3-6, and then LAG was 4-6. So it's not like LAG has like this master of S&D.
No, definitely not.
You know, but that roster was built for S&D for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they still struggled though, both of them.
Yeah, I agree
with S&D. So to me, it's like, who do you trust more in game 5?
Right. And again, I do think that Dallas's S&D is pretty decent. Just the question is like, you know, how much weight do you put on that loss to Toronto? I mean, Toronto is coming off of an upset against Florida. So this match was a literal must win, and Toronto looked good, obviously. Yeah. But it wasn't like Dallas got beat out of into the ground in the S&Ds, though. I'll take Dallas 3-2 as well.
I mean, they won the S&D against the Ravens. And Vivid didn't look good in that, but it feels like Shotzi's like the only one that Shotzi this whole time since the Huke thing, he's the only one that looks confident on the team.
Yeah, I agree.
If they're playing,
he made some great plays in S&D. And that round 11 wasn't that the round 11 where he like played his life in the 2v1 on Express? I think that was Shotzi on the Express against London.
Yes,
he played his life in the 2v1. I think that's what it was, but
I just think when it comes to the S&Ds, I don't know. I just feel like
Crim's been playing great in Surge.
Beat him up. He has been. He has.
Yeah,
been.
I'm going down.
Is Shotzi going to be too much of a menace?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. But alrighty, well now we got Paris versus LA Thieves. 2 more rosters that were new.
My word.
Obviously Paris was debuting with Zaptius, and LA Thieves was re-debuting with Tej.
My word.
So thoughts on this matchup?
I personally, I loved the way Paris looked with. I'm saying for the first week with Zap.
Loved?
I'm saying compared to their old.
They lost to Rokkr 3-1.
That is true.
Not great.
But to me, it seems like Zap brings something that Classic couldn't. And I think if you build off that, that's going to... I think they're going to improve from this, from this roster.
I mean, they won they've now won 3 straight search and destroys. And for Paris, that's big news.
Yeah.
And that's against, London, FaZe, and Rokkr. I mean, to be fair, Rocker's been a trash S&D team lately, but decent S&D teams besides that. So I don't know, man. I'm really torn on this roster. I'm still in doubt about what Paris can really bring to the table.
Yeah.
LA Thieves, again, close match there in their first match again together, but I still think there's a lot of upside with this team, at least to be a top 16 right there on the fringe. I'm going LA Thieves 3-1, finishing them off in a game 4 hardpoint.
Man, that's rough for Paris. They lose this one too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, real rough.
I don't know. I'm not confident LA Thieves will beat them like that. I mean, LA Thieves went game 5 with Seattle, and Seattle, that they could have won that series 3-1.
Yeah, but Seattle's been a competent hardpoint team on the year.
And they almost won the control, and they're not a good control team. I guess like the S&D from LA Thieves is stronger, I think, by a lot. Paris, I guess I don't trust Paris's S&D against that.
Even though they won 3 straight. This is winnable for Paris. By no means is it not. So where are you guys at with it?
I don't know. In Paris, they went to a game 4 at least with FaZe, and like it wasn't like Paris.
Yeah,
was,
but
like,
they want
totally
to stand
out
off
of it.
search
It felt
and
like
destroy.
Paris was competing.
Yeah.
I think, to me, this is going to be that game where I'm going to go with the underdog here. I think Paris can pull this off.
That'd be real tough for LA Thieves.
Yeah, it would. It would stink.
If Nate Shot's sitting there and they're losing to Paris this point in the year in week 2 with Tej, it's like, yikes.
I think Paris are going to win 1 hard point and then both S&Ds.
Game 5.
Game 5.
I don't know, man. I just don't see it.
Man,
Rex?
maybe I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do Paris 3-1.
Wow.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my word. Y'all are drinking the Kool-Aid. What?
I thought 3-2 was like borderline. 3-1 is crazy.
Yo, what's that putting in that water, dude?
I don't know. I have some sort of faith with Paris right now.
Man, that's pretty crazy. I don't know, man. I just don't see it. I liked, again, the only thing I liked was that S&D against FaZe, but that was a standoff search and destroy, and like it's the first weekend of it being in the league. Like there's just so many X factors.
But the rest of their matches with FaZe were pretty close.
I will say
that's
too,
the thing that like I'm really giving like I know they lost the control like 3-1, but they did not look lost.
I will say too,
I think we've seen Paris be.
The one alternate universe thing too is they lost that second hard point at Rokkr 247-250.
If they win that nice hold.
If they win that hard point,
do you feel different about the team?
Do they win that game 5?
They went 211-250 against FaZe.
So I do think it is a stretch to beat LA Thieves, but I don't think it's out of the question. That's why I think it's gonna be one of those games where it's gonna be like Paris kind of came to play.
Side note, Simp in that Garrison hardpoint just absolutely fried. It was insane. Like you're just watching it, basically once
Simp
per
went
series.
34-20.
Oh yeah, he was frying.
And it was just casual. Like I wasn't even like noticing, and then at the end I'm like, he went 34-20. Like it was just that normal. Like it's just that.
Some of the plays he made there were just like it feels like it happens once per match for a FaZe guy, where you're just like a jaw dropping, like
wow.
No one should get that kill,
Well,
you know,
no.
and like that happened multiple times in that game.
But all 4 are like able to do it,
and that's the problem. Is at any point you're just suddenly like, oh, RC has streaks suddenly. Where did this come from? You know, like it just literally just happened, and then that's just so scary for teams that play FaZe. Anyway, long story short, sidetrack there. You guys going Paris 3-1? Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
It will be.
Anyone feel confident enough to make a little bet there, Sam? Hat bet.
I'll do a hat bet.
Oh, let's go. Yes, sir. Oak boys.
We need to ship some,
baby.
We need to ship some hats over to Rex
we
too,
do.
just in case.
I know. IP and pools. Florida versus New York. This is the juiciest match of the day so far, of the tournament so far.
Florida coming out with a 2-0.
Florida top 4 ? I mean, they beat Toronto. Obviously, a really impressive win based off how Toronto then played in their next match. So where are you at with Florida right now? Again, Havoc, massive improvement from him. Rex Neptune making some big time plays this weekend.
Remember my prediction
Is he's getting better?
He's getting better.
He definitely looks better.
Is this team finding a groove?
They never should have got rid of Havoc. Maybe that was the ticket. Because he seems to be a really good voice on that team, and all of a sudden they put Havoc back, and now they're just beating people again.
Yeah, I mean Havoc's by no means like generally he had a really nice map there, but he was generally not like frying. He's just making consistent plays, and you love to see that. And maybe it was just that full on. I mean, how many times we mentioned we need some consistency from Florida, and we're finally starting to see that from Havoc now, which is really, really good. And Neptune,
which is really what he needs to bring. That's all he needed to bring.
And we're starting to see that clutch gene from Neptune now, and that gets scary when Neptune's making big time clutches. Insertion destroys. That's where Florida gets pretty scary.
Which we knew it was in him. It was just a matter of him. It just wasn't happening.
So I was really happy to see that from Florida, and really surprised, I'm shocked to see it too, beating Toronto like they did in a series like that was really impressive.
The Titan had to fall at some point. And looks like it's starting to happen.
But, I mean, Toronto bounced back and absolutely fried Empire. So, I don't know. It's tough to say.
It's not looking great either.
But again, FaZe lost to LAG at one point. Things just happen once in a while. I don't know. So that's the thing. Do you buy into this Florida team? They're playing New York. What are your thoughts on this one, Rex?
I buy into them. I just hope it doesn't go game 5 because I might pick Florida. But I think New York, I think they still can take the respawns. And I'm going New York 3-1. But if it gets to, the S&Ds scare me with New York.
This feels like a 3-1 to me. I think Florida will take the control. But New York again, just with Hydra, they just seem to be a complete team now. It just seems to be all there. And when you go up against
trades
Florida,
are impeccable, man.
Yeah,
Asim is all over the place.
Props to Asim. Talk about
he's a baller.
The biggest comeback from his stock on Black Ops 4 and Modern Warfare.
He barely made a roster.
Oh, barely.
And now suddenly he's been one of the most valuable players on a top 3 team season.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, mad props to Asim for sure, dude.
Yeah. So for Florida, it's just like, again, with that Toronto series, like what still blows my mind is how they beat them. Florida beating them on Raid Hardpoint was just like so surprising. So I was just like, huh?
What in the world?
Like what? And basically, after that, they want to stand off, search and destroy. Again, I don't want to make like a prediction based off a standoff, search and destroy. And then they played at Miami and they looked great on that game 5 Miami. You got to give them props there. And again, that could be a checkmate situation there where you're seeing the effects of a checkmate now having to play Miami like that.
I was wondering, what's Toronto's record on Miami? Do we have that easily accessible?
It is 4-4.
Not great. Yeah, 4-4.
4-4.
Yep.
I thought it was weird that they were doing that because, Mutineers just we're dominating that Miami.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not playing them on Raid, they're beatable. So I was surprised that we didn't see an Express.
Toronto's 5-1.
Was it because
5-1.
What's Florida on Express? They're pretty good too, right? 6-4.
6-4.
So maybe they just wanted to take. Maybe Toronto was trying to build their map pool a little bit too on Miami. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Again, I think I was teams experimenting a little bit early on in groups.
Yeah,
that's why it's like I'm not going to overreact with Toronto. I think they're gonna be really good. I'm a slow mover on Florida. So I think they're going to be very, very competitive rest of this stage.
Yes, but
I'm not convinced to say that they're good enough here to beat New York either. 3-1 makes a lot of freaking sense.
Yeah. We haven't seen Havoc be consistently consistent.
No, amen.
So it's hard to take a ton from the first weekend. Now, if we start seeing this be a more regularly occurring thing, then yeah, sure. But
but it was an impressive 2 matches from Florida to say the least. Especially in that win against London, a hot 3-0 of London, we looked really good. Winning the Express, just overall really solid. You gotta love that. So I'm gonna go NYSL 3-1 as well. So there we are. London versus Toronto now. Where are you at with this one?
I'm going with Toronto on this one.
Yep.
I'm not a
Toronto
fan of
3-1.
I don't know what happened. I'm not going to say anything personal with like Alex. I'm not a fan of that move, bringing back Alex on the roster.
London, I mean, that is a new roster as well with London, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that is a tough situation as well. Afro and Alex, of course, debuted this weekend.
Yeah.
There was moments where Afro made some pretty nice plays,
There
twitchy
was.
plays. You're like, okay, but
Alex
he definitely
didn't play bad either, though.
No, I don't think so.
Neither of them played bad, but I don't think either of them did anything great.
Replacing Zed with either of those guys, like
Zaptius.
Yeah,
and Zap, that just doesn't make sense to me.
it
No.
really felt like they had something going before, and I'm not like they could have something going again here, but it's like you just reset again, and you just had something already.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
rough.
I'm going to go Toronto 3-0. Toronto's out for blood. They're going to be playing really, really well. And again, after a loss at Toronto, they literally cannot afford to lose again.
Mhm.
So these matches mean a lot to them right now. That you want to be in that winner's bracket for the first LAN event of the year, and that they're going to come out frying.
Yeah.
Hot 3-0.
Mhm.
Where are you guys at?
3-1 for me. I do think London is very capable of taking the map, but again, when we've seen teams like the higher teams, like Toronto, FaZe, lose a game, it's pretty much or lose a match. That's pretty much their only match lost. Like FaZe losing to was it?
What?
Man, in stage 2 or 3,
LAG?
FaZe lost to LAG. Like that. That was just a random occurrence. I think this Toronto loss to Florida was kind of like a random, dip. I just don't see them losing again, personally. But
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Paris versus Chicago now. Obviously, Chicago's coming off about as disappointing of a 3-0 as you can have. They got smoked by FaZe.
dude, it feels like Abezy is like the biggest thorn in their side as a team. Like I feel like Abezy is in their heads, like hard.
probably
I
are.
agree. And like the OpTic started off, the S&D was big time for me where I thought OpTic was like, you came out, I think they went up 3-0, the 3-1. They were up pretty early in the S&D. And I was like, man, OpTic's looking really, really good. You got to love this. And then FaZe just started reading everything they were doing. They made the right call. They're like, all right, we're hitting A. We're going to fake B, make them rotate, play them over. Like they were making every right call. They fake planted A, rotated B. They were just literally playing them.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're like, oh man, Chicago's not winning this. There's no way. And then Toronto, and then you go to a raid. You're like, well, they're not winning this. And
They couldn't even get a tick on second. They had 2 minutes. In the first round,
dude.
they had 2 minutes. They captured the first one really fast. They had 2 minutes to get the second one. They didn't get a single tick on it, which I understand. Like it can be hard, but
It can be tough.
I mean, can we say 100% OpTic experiences FaZe at their best every time they play? I mean, it's a dominant FaZe every time.
That's the
well,
problem
I feel
here.
like FaZe just has their number. Like it just felt like FaZe's strategy was just bull rush them so that you don't give them time to set up. And that's what they did. And Abezy would go in, pick 2, and then OpTic takes their time, tries setting up again. All of a sudden, Abezy in again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness! Like when can we just go as a team and do something? But they just get picked apart.
FaZe is 3-0 against OpTic this season, 9-2 map count, with only losses on a Garrison and a checkmate, a checkmate control, and a Garrison hardpoint are the 2 times OpTic's beat them. Oh man,
Just
that
one
is
out?
really tough.
Yeah.
The good thing is Paris is not FaZe.
Yeah.
Amen.
Going on to
Yes.
this,
For all you
yes.
OpTic fans out there.
If you want to,
OpTic,
I'd say if you want to use chain theory, OpTic 3-0'd Rokkr and then Rokkr 3-1 Paris. So you could just say OpTic are going to beat Paris here. But
this feels like a 3-1.
I think it's going to be a 3-1.
I do too.
This could be a
3-1
3-0.
Chicago.
Yeah, we have been taking our sweet time on these, but
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Seattle
I think
versus
it's pretty
Minnesota.
straightforward. Yeah, Seattle versus V. Minnesota's up next.
Seattle versus Minnesota.
And this was obviously Major Maniac's debut for Minnesota last weekend,
Mhm.
and a mixed bag of results for Minnesota on the weekend. What were your
Yes.
thoughts on Minnesota?
For OpTic beating them 3-0, it was a close series.
Yeah, I mean the hard point was close,
Yeah.
and then And then you headed to like a standoff again. Standoff is tough again. First map time playing it. Envoy with those insane 3 pieces.
Yeah.
And Envoy just kept slipping through the flank. Like, bro, how are you letting this happen? It's Envoy. You know he's hitting that stupid alley.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking of the
I don't
hard
think it
point.
was
It's not really that
close.
close. I'm sorry. The hard point.
Just the hard point, maybe.
Yeah, that's my bad. Looking back, I'm like, wait, no, it was just the
But
hard point.
OpTic was
It
really
close.
impressive on that raid control as well. So Rokkr
Raid control
that.
OpTic, it was 3-0.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I guess you say OpTic look impressive. Like, yeah. Okay.
That's what I was saying.
I thought you were saying-
Rokkr though,
That was a dumb thing to say from me. So
I mean, you can't be walking away from that weekend with confidence. No way. I mean, they 3-1 Legion again. That map 4 went to a 252-47. So how do you feel
but
about
it
that?
looks competitive.
It was competitive. They look really good on the Garrison, but we've seen them look good on Garrison before. So, what are your thoughts here? What's your score predictions?
I'm doing it, guys. Seattle 3-2.
Oh, man, Sam, you're reading my mind. I'm kind of feeling the same way.
Man,
It just feels like Minnesota is just going down and down and down. Like,
I want Surge to break through so bad.
I mean, Seattle can definitely.
and they can.
Chicago. I mean, Minnesota's going to win the control.
Yes,
Almost for sure.
100%.
So it's like, okay, Seattle can definitely win the hard points.
Yes.
And then the S&Ds, Minnesota hasn't been great in S&D.
No.
Yeah.
Very winnable for Seattle. This is a very winnable match, 3-2 for Seattle. It makes a lot of sense.
It's a very winnable game 5.
And with that notion, I am going to go Seattle 3-2. It's going to be like they're going to be crying at the end. It's going to be a very emotional moment, I feel like, for the team.
Just
and this is going
Octane
to
just
just top
tears
it
streaming
off
down his
with
face.
game 5. And they finally win the game 5 against
Gunless
Rokkr,
actually
which is
like cracks like a half smile.
Team.
Yeah.
Some emotion there.
Honestly,
Like-
though,
They're going to be breathing fresh air after this one.
I don't know, man. This is, it's just, how do I put my faith in Seattle at this point? It's impossible. It's impossible.
At some point, it's
they
going to
let
happen.
me down
At some
every
point.
time.
They could have beat LA Thieves.
At some point, it's going to happen.
But they could have beat like 13
They could beat
teams this year.
everyone.
But like
Minnesota
it
3-2. They lose another
it was
game
just
5,
the
bro.
control. Like if they won the control, it was over.
If they lose another game 5
To Minnesota,
that'll
who's not
be
even good at S&Ds. Again, I do think that
heartbreaking.
Minnesota's going to bounce back and search and destroy. Another week with Major Maniac practicing these S&Ds. I think they're going to be bringing it in the S&Ds this time around. They probably won't play standoff. You know, I think we can see something pretty good here from the Rokkr. I think they're going to be in a pretty good spot. 3-2 Minnesota. LAGV Florida's up next. You know, I mean, again, do you buy into Florida here? Again, another test here for Florida. I do buy in as well. Although LAG's kind of been a tough matchup for them on the season. It's always been close with LAG in Florida.
I feel like LAG is just a tough team to play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, again, they've been...
They went game 5 last time they played. That was during stage 3. During stage 2, Florida 3-0'd them. And
Stage 1, Florida
Stage
3-1.
1, Florida 3-1'd them. So they're 3-0 against them right now.
Yep.
I do foresee this going a Florida 3-1 as well. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It could be a 3-2. Go down to the wire there. Florida's been pretty good in search and destroys lately, but I do think Florida's going to win it. Rex?
Yeah, I think Florida's going to win too. I think it's going to be a Florida 3-1 though.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You said 3-1 also.
Yep. All right, makes sense. And then Atlanta versus LA Thieves up here again. I mean, it's again, I with much hesitancy took LA Thieves to beat Paris. Atlanta is coming out here and they're going to play really, really good COD again. This is at least a 3-1, probably a 3-0. I'm going FaZe 3-0.
I'm going FaZe 3-0.
I think 3-1. Here's my thing too is
I'm glad you did, Sam, because it felt a little criminal to be like, oh, it's just easy 3-0. It's like,
I agree.
Yeah.
Again, LA Thieves could definitely make this happen.
Yeah.
But you guys have Paris beating LA Thieves. So at this point, like, if anything, you know,
yeah,
I mean, you guys should be the ones with the 3-0s here.
exactly. But I think
Fire away.
next match.
Oh, sure.
I'm
Next
talking about
match.
next match.
Dallas versus New York is our last match
I
here.
think this is going to be a hot 3-0.
Just a steamy hot one.
I think New York is going to roll Dallas. I just with Dallas being
No.
so.
Dallas is still a map.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
New York just. I don't know, man. Dallas is still struggling.
New York is always good, but rarely are they like dominant.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I don't know about that. Like, they're very, very consistent, which Dallas can be extremely inconsistent.
They are.
And like,
Last time they
it
played,
feels like they're more
Dallas 3-0
inconsistent
them.
more than they're usually bad more than they're good.
When was that?
the major of stage 2.
Because like
Before they
Shotzzy
were
can
good.
carry, Crim has times where he can carry, Ilya's carried, Vivid, we haven't seen that yet with Dallas, but they never do it at the right times where it's like, it feels like in a match, Shotzi's the only one doing anything, Crim is kind of there, and then Ilya and Vivid are just shitting the bed.
Yeah.
Or Ilya starts popping, Ilya and Crim are doing something really good in S&D, but then Shotzi and Vivid are shitting the bed. So
yeah, it's
like,
gonna be interesting. I
with
don't know.
New York, with the consistency New York has, where all 4 players are always playing so well, I just don't see how like Dallas can do it. I'm gonna do New York 3-0 also.
I'm going to NYSL 3-1. I could see Dallas winning in the S&D. I could see Dallas, having a chance depending on what map they play and control.
S&D is the only one.
S&D makes the most sense. Yeah. S&D
Maybe.
makes by far the most sense. I could see him winning it.
I hope New York improves their S&D though.
Yeah.
They're not like the way their S&D is now. They're not winning champs. It has to be better. They're not beating FaZe with that S&D.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Sam?
Yeah.
What do you go with?
3-0.
Oh.
New York 3-0.
Okay.
A hot steamy 3-0.
Oh, right. Absolutely. Well, there it is, boys. That's the predictions for the weekend.
Woo.
It should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, I guess we can get right into intelligent or
Event.
relevant and see how
Irrelevant.
smart you guys are this week. Let's get it.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Alrighty, so this week on Intelligent or Irrelevant the question was, which player would you want to most build a franchise around?
Ooh.
And the options are Skies, Insight, Cellium, and Priesta.
Ooh. Ooh.
I decided to throw some interesting curveballs in there to see what people gauge the people there. So what do you think people are going to say? Skies, Insight, Cellium, Priesta.
I mean,
I think they're going to say Cellium.
Cellium, 100%.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, though,
He's not the leader type, though.
Insight might be
I
the
don't know
one.
if Cellium's the right answer, to be honest.
Insight might be the right answer here.
It's a bold
Maybe.
take. To
I don't
build a
know enough
franchise
about
run, you better hope
Insight.
that he can translate.
I think
We know Skies can translate from game to game, though.
I think Priesta.
That's why my mind kind of thinks Skies.
Priesta will be the least likely.
Yeah,
I think Cellium will be the most likely.
I agree.
Yep.
Those
I
are-
think people will say Cellium.
yes.
Yeah.
Agreed? All right, let's see what they say. Alrighty. Okay. Wow. Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Okay. This is Cellium dominated the poll.
Yep.
61%
Yeah, for
said
Makes
Cellium.
sense.
23% said Insight, and tied at 8% is Skies and Priesta. There were 220 votes.
Wow.
So a decent amount of votes. Let's read some comments down below here. Apollo says, I'm disappointed that people aren't wanting to invest in their game. And
Good old Skies. I love it.
and then, he specifically thinks that you're reading this. He says, Sam, I know my name is hard to read, but you can call me Desma. So shout out Desma.
Sorry.
So most definitely, he has a lot of natural talent and he can get along with anyone. He's very young and has a whole career ahead of him. I imagine he wants to ring ASAP. He could be the main AR easily.
I've definitely butchered his name before. Sorry, dude.
As a Florida fan, it pains me not to say Skies, but it has to be Cellium. The guy can do it all. He's great with an AR and with a sub. Plus, he is still very young.
He's still so young.
Personality very unique, and unlike most players, which is good for content. Definitely Skies. He invests in his game.
I love it, dude. That people
Skies, to be
forever.
honest, no shadow of doubt. The other three are amazing, but Skies probably is the one to build a team around. Cellium is a difficult one simply because he's always been surrounded by god tier players, and I don't feel like he's going to be the one to lead teams like Skies could.
See, I kind of
Interesting.
agree with his take on that. Like, Cell's great, but he's not really a unifier, I don't think, where I think Skies has a certain unifying quality about him.
Yeah.
I can see
And
it.
he's good.
Yeah. And then Dustin Sepp says it was tough between the bottom three. I love Skies, but he doesn't compare to the other three as far as centerpieces go. I went with Cellium, but this one but Priesta was a very close second in my book. You could go either way.
Yeah.
So some interesting
Intelligent.
comments there. I like the intelligent comments from the boys.
Yeah.
Things you absolutely love to see.
Good comments.
Priesta is such an interesting conversation we can have later, but man, it's just so disappointing this year.
Yeah.
I thought
And
he was
last
gonna
year.
be-
Up and down.
Let's be real.
I still think he could be an incredibly valuable piece to a championship team, though.
Absolutely. It's just
So That's what gets tough. But we'll see what happens. All right, boys, that is it for the podcast today. I have a league match, a community league match to get into. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Drop all your comments down below. Drop a review on Apple Podcasts. And we appreciate you guys. And we'll be reading them for sure. So without further ado, guys, I'm Josh. Tomorrow's Bachelor's for Bo3. And to our final right, per usual, is ShadyNero. Guys, this has been the best 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. And guys, we will see you next time. We out.